All right, we are now being joined by Cody Law. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Thank you, Cody. I appreciate the time today. My first question for you is your Bellator debut at 250, obviously a very successful fight for you, but what were your expectations of your Bellator debut compared to fighting in an empty arena?
I don't know. I didn't really have expectations. I've never fought in front of an empty arena, but it felt just like sparring. So I figured treat it like a sparring session, and I just went in and did my thing, and I just let it play out how it played out.
Well, it played out to your advantage, and very impressively too, because we don't get to see Brabo chokes very often. So are you expecting to have a similar kind of performance against Kenny Champion?
Yeah, I think so. I think another first round finish is what I'm looking for. Maybe I'll finish him the exact same way. I'll hit that same exact Darce choke again. I don't know what you called it there.
Oh, I thought it was a Brabo choke. Sorry, if it was Darce, it was Darce. I'm not a jiu-jitsu expert.
It's a Darce. As far as I know, it's a Darce choke. I think maybe I could hit that one again, but we'll see what happens. First round, though, that's what I'm gunning for.
Well, we'll look forward to it on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, thanks very much. And Cody, you know, the kind of attention and focus that you've gotten this early in your MMA career, has anything really prepared you for that? Did your wrestling career perhaps help prepare you for this? Because we don't normally see a lot of 1-0 fighters get this much attention.
No, I don't know that I was necessarily prepared for it, but I visualize a lot and I kind of imagine situations like this playing out in my head before this was happening to me. When I was sitting at home in quarantine, I would have these kind of situations play out in my head. So I guess I prepared myself for it mentally. But like I said before, I'm just kind of rolling with how things go.
And in terms of the upcoming fight, Kenny Champion, just give us your thoughts on this matchup.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup for me. I think it's maybe a step up in competition, but it's an easier matchup for me, or an easier fight for me. Seems like pretty basic MMA fighter. 1-2, throw the low kick. Maybe he'll come forward. Should be easier for me to strike with this guy. I think he might stand in front of me a little bit more, so I'm excited for it.
John Eric.
Hey, Cody, always a pleasure talking to you, my man. And my question for you, before your last fight, you were telling me how you really didn't, it wasn't so much preparing necessarily for him. You were working on your skill sets and improving your game. Did you do this for the same camp, or did you do a little bit more preparation for Kenny Champion?
No, same thing for this camp. We just kept everything the same as last time, kept the train rolling and focused on me.
And then just the last thing for you before your last fight, and you had a nice custom-made suit that you came rolling into the arena with. You got some style for this one too?
Yeah, it's on its way right now. I'm excited about it.
Dunna.
Hey, Cody, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Talk to me. Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about your matchup with Kenny Champion. He's obviously got a little bit more of that pro experience than your last opponent. Do you think that that's going to play a factor at all?
No, not at all. I think pro experience, amateur experience, I mean, whatever. It's just fights. You know, we're all just fighting. So I don't think it's going to make a difference.
What's the situation in Florida at the moment? You're able to train pretty much as normal?
Yeah, I train every day. I live inside American Top Team, so I train every day.
I saw you met the president's son when he was in ATT. Can you tell me a bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was a cool experience. You know, it was my first time ever meeting anybody that closely related to the president. He was there at the gym for a rally with George Masvidal, and I got to meet him afterwards. It was cool.
Nice guy, charismatic guy?
Yeah, he was very charismatic. He was a good speaker, and he treated me nicely. I liked him.
Last one from me with regards to George Masvidal. It looks like maybe Colby Covington next for him. What's your take on that fight?
I don't know if that's happening or not, but if it is, I'm taking George, of course.
Jim?
Yeah, thank you. I'm just curious because you mentioned you staying at American Top Team at their facility. What has that process been like for you being away from family, friends, and everybody, and just being so centrally focused at ATT?
It's been good. I mean, I have a pretty good system down where I spend maybe like 3 months in ATT, and then I go home to Pennsylvania for a week or a week and a half and see my family and train with some of my people from back home, and then I go back down to ATT. And when I'm there, I'm very focused, so it's nice. When I go home, I can lay back a little bit, enjoy some things, maybe eat some food I wouldn't normally eat, or stay up a little bit later than normal. But then I get that out of my system. I get back to the gym at American Top Team, and I'm super focused. So it's a really good dynamic right now.
And lastly, for me, what is it like being at American Top Team and working with those coaches and fighters and just things you may have picked up and learned being there so far?
Yeah, it's a dream come true. I'm surrounded by people that are like me, world-class coaches, world-class fighters. Obviously, my level is jumping exponentially by the week, I would say. Just being around them, sparring with them, sparring inside of a cage, having guys like Mike Brown watch my sessions, film my sessions, watch tape with them. I mean, how can I not grow as a fighter every day there?
Luis?
Hi, Cody.
How's it going?
This is your thanks. This is your second fight in Bellator. You have this chance to develop your career and your abilities in a worldwide level company like Bellator. What do you think about this opportunity?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm grateful for it. I'm just ready to go fight.
Like what I say, this is your second professional fight. How different do you feel the professional level?
How do I feel?
Yes.
I feel great. I feel like I belong here.
All right. Thank you very much for the time, Cody. Good luck the rest of the week.
All right.
Up next, we have Juliana Velasquez. All right, we are now being joined by Juliana Velasquez. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Juliana, thank you for the time today. This is a historic fight. Two undefeated women flyweight fighters going for the world title. How do you feel at this momentous occasion about this big fight?
Falou que grande luta, duas meninas invictas nos 125 libras, no peso mosca, lutando pelo cinturão. Como você está se sentindo entrando nesse grande espetáculo de luta?
Sentindo muito bem, acho que já estava preparada há muito tempo para essa luta, só estava esperando o momento certo e veio agora, né, tentar fechar o ano, né, um ano ruim para todos e fazer esse ano ficar bom, pelo menos no final.
Yeah, I've been prepared for this fight for a while. I've been training for it. It is a great fight. It seems like it was, this is a horrible year. and I'm looking to finish the year. Even though it was a horrible year, I'm looking to finish this year with a great ending and a great result for myself.
You know that Ilima-Lei is an excellent tactician on the ground. She has great jiu-jitsu, but do you see the fight playing out there, or do you prefer to keep it standing?
Você sabe que ela é bom de jiu-jitsu, ela é muito técnica de jiu-jitsu. Você pensa que a luta você vai ir para o chão, ou você está pensando em ficar com a luta em pé?
A luta começa em pé, né? Se me der a oportunidade para nocautear, eu vou nocautear. Se a gente for para o chão, acabar indo para o chão, eu tô com o meu jiu-jitsu também em dia e vamos tentar finalizar. Eu quero acabar com a luta.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the fight starts standing up. So if I get the opportunity to knock her out, I'm going to try to knock her out. And if it goes to the ground, I'm very well prepared and well trained in jiu-jitsu, and I'm going to try to finish the fight. So I'm going to go for the submission if we're on the ground, and I'm going to try to knock her out if we're standing up.
Donna Corby.
Juliana, do you think that ring rust is going to play a factor? I mean, you've been out of the ring for just under a year, and of course, this is a very different circumstance in terms of the quarantine, the testing and everything than when you last fought. Is ring rust going to be a factor in this fight?
Ele está perguntando se o tempo de fora de lutar vai ser problema. Eles compram ferradura de não lutar, que é quase ano atrás quando você lutou. E tu acha que isso vai ser problema?
Não. Os treinamentos não pararam. Meus treinamentos sempre foram muito fortes, né? Como se fosse uma luta ali para mim. Eu treino com homem, então eu acho que cada treinamento com homem, por ser muito forte, acho que chega a ser mais difícil do que a luta, né? Então, não é o peso desse ano quase parado que vai fazer diferença para mim.
Yeah, I don't think this 1 year makes too big of a difference to me. The training never stopped. Even when the pandemic first started, I trained a little bit by myself, but I went right back to training with my team and training with flyweight and bantamweight men. So I feel that a lot of my training, being that I train a lot with men, ends up being sometimes more difficult than the actual fight itself. So I don't think this year that I haven't actively been fighting, I've been training and preparing myself for this moment.
Ilima-Lei is, of course, a huge name in Bellator. She's a woman who a lot of people are very fond of. Do you have a lot of respect for your opponent? And also, do you feel that you'll be stronger because of, like you said, your ability to train with men in the weight class as well?
Ele está falando que a tua adversária é grande nome aqui no Bellator e tu acha que isso você tem muito respeito por ela e se isso vai mudar uma coisa, ou você acha que você falando que você está treinando com homem, isso vai te beneficiar nessa luta?
Não, eu respeito a ela e todas as outras adversárias. Acima de qualquer coisa, existe uma coisa chamada fair play, mas eu vim para fazer o meu nome, não estou preocupada se ela tem nome ou não. Eu vim aqui para fazer o meu trabalho, fazer o que eu tenho de melhor e levar esse cinturão para casa.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for her, as I've had respect for every one of my opponents in here. I'm here to do a job. I don't care how popular she is. I don't care how famous she is and how people like her. I'm here to do my job, and that's to finish off this year and take this belt home with me.
Gareth Davies.
This is London calling, Gareth A. Davis. Juju, tu amico de Londres. Obrigado. They are saying that this is probably Ilima's hardest fight in her career, but maybe is it your hardest fight as well?
Eles estão falando que essa é capaz de ser a luta mais difícil da carreira da tua adversária. Tu pode falar que essa é capaz de ser a tua luta mais difícil da tua carreira também?
Com certeza. Com certeza, acho que vai ser uma grande luta para as duas, né? Temos ao mesmo tempo nós viemos do mesmo, praticamente da mesma modalidade, não é a mesma modalidade, mas mesmo estilo de luta, que é o estilo de grappling. Mas hoje eu me encontro muito mais na parte da trocação e ela continua na parte de grappling. Eu acho que isso vai ser um grande confronto para as duas, um grande desafio tanto para mim quanto para ela.
Yeah, I believe this fight is going to be a great challenge for both of us. I mean, we both kind of come from kind of the similar backgrounds, you know, from a grappling background, hers from jiu-jitsu, mine from judo. But I've seemed to adapt well to the striking game, and I enjoy doing that. But I do feel that this is a difficult fight for both of us. We both bring challenges to each other that maybe neither one of us seen before. But I'm prepared for this fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Where will the fight, Juju, be won and lost?
Aonde essa luta vai ser ganha ou perdida?
Onde vai ser ganha, eu não sei, perdida também não. Isso eu acho que não vai acontecer, mas eu estou preparada para ganhar, para nocautear, se ela me der espaço, eu finalizar ou ganhar por ponto. Eu estou preparada para as três opções.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where this fight will be won, and in my mind, this fight won't be lost in my mind, for me. So, you know, I'm prepared to take the fight anywhere. Like I said, you know, I do like to strike a lot, and I'm just going to take whatever opportunities are presented to me. If I see an opportunity to knock her out, I'm going to try to knock her out. If I could submit her, I'll submit her. If the fight has to go the distance, I'm prepared to do that too. So I'm prepared to win this fight. I can't tell you how I'm going to win, when I'm going to win, but I believe I'm going to win.
Tenuri?
Juliana, tudo bem?
Tudo bem.
Então, olha só, o Bellator tem crescido muito de popularidade aqui no Brasil, né? E isso se deve muito aos campeões. Temos muitos brasileiros, como é o caso do Patrício Pitbull, Cyborg, Douglas Lima. Você agora está lutando por esse cinturão. Como é para você lidar com isso, já que você pode também ter essa responsabilidade de integrar esse time?
Eu não acredito numa responsabilidade, né? Eu acho que vai ser uma grande honra eu estar do lado de pessoas com grande nome, né? Como a Cyborg. Eu entrei no MMA sendo muito fã dela. O Patrício Pitbull, já tive a oportunidade de ser da mesma equipe que ele. E o Douglas ainda não pude conhecê-lo, mas acho que vai ser uma honra eu entrar nesse grande time aí de brazuca com cinturão.
Legal. Mais uma pergunta para você. Muito se fala, né, do crossover entre o UFC e o Bellator, que vários lutadores aí estão desafiando. E eu queria saber de você, porque a própria Ilina, ela desafiou também a Valentina recentemente. Você gostaria de fazer parte de um evento como esse? E eu queria saber de você como é que você vê, se isso acontecesse, como é que seria meio que um resultado de um choque entre o UFC e Bellator?
Eu acho que é sempre legal, né, essa oportunidade, essa troca entre os atletas. É uma experiência de pegar uma campeã de um outro evento, com uma experiência muito grande, que é a Valentina, né? Não vamos tirar o mérito dela, ela é uma grande atleta. E, com certeza, eu tendo esse título, gostaria muito de lutar com ela, se possível. E eu acho incrível essa troca entre o Bellator e o UFC, né? Os campeões quererem lutar um contra o outro. Eu acho isso uma oportunidade incrível.
Yeah, basically, what the question was, actually, I didn't even really pay attention to the whole point. I was just, sorry.
Jay Anderson?
Thanks very much. Juliana, you expected this fight to come last December. I think a lot of us did. You wound up fighting Bruna Ellen instead. How frustrating has the wait to finally get to this title shot been for you?
Falou que você era para realmente lutar com a tua adversária agora pelo cinturão ano passado, em dezembro, e depois você lutou com a Bruna Ellen. era muito frustrante esperando esse tempo todo para ter essa oportunidade?
Não acho que foi frustrante. Eu acreditava realmente que eu fosse lutar em dezembro do ano passado com a Macfarlane, mas me deram a Bruna, mas eu encaro isso como o meu trabalho, sou funcionária e meu trabalho é lutar. A adversária que me dessem eu ia fazer um grande trabalho, uma grande luta, e eu sabia que minha oportunidade ia chegar.
Yeah, I was supposed to fight the champ last December, and yeah, it was frustrating at times, but at the end of the day, this is my job, is to fight who they put in front of me, and that's what I did. And granted, with the pandemic happening and everything being stalled out, it was a little bit frustrating, but that's behind me, and the time has come, and I'm looking forward to winning this title.
And I know the pandemic has been difficult for a lot of people, but is there a bit of a silver lining here? Because normally these December cards of Ilima are in Hawaii, her own territory, and that's not going to happen this year. You're on neutral ground. So is that an advantage, not going into enemy territory?
Eu sei que esse ano essa pandemia foi pouco frustrante e várias coisas aconteceram, mas falando isso, normalmente ela defende o cinturão dela no Havaí. E como você se sente não tendo de ir para casa dela para lutar com ela, isso é melhor para você?
Não faz diferença para mim onde eu luto. Eu não sinto pressão alguma de onde eu tô, onde eu não tô. Acho que a única diferença é que não lutando no Havaí, acho que lá é muito longe, é mais tempo de voo, é mais cansativo. E essa é a única diferença. Mas não me importa onde eu esteja, eu não sinto pressão alguma.
Yeah, I don't really mind. I wouldn't have mind fighting her in Hawaii in her home. That doesn't really put any pressure on me. I think the only advantage that maybe is that Hawaii is a long way away from Brazil, so fighting here in Connecticut is a much shorter flight, so it's less wear and tear on the body after that long flight. But other than that, it doesn't make a difference where I fight, whether I fight in her home or anywhere else. It doesn't change anything for me.
Gareth?
Yes, London calling again. Juju, is it a joke that Tapology has you ranked at number 32 in the world at flyweight? And secondly, as you know, I always ask you, are you going to smile a bit more when you're champion?
Ela falou que você fica frustrado vendo que a Tapology ranqueia você número 32 no mundo. E outra coisa que eu sempre falo com você é que se você vai dar mais sorriso quando você é campeão.
Com certeza. Não me importo com o meu número do meu ranking. Não me importo mesmo. Nem ligo para essas coisas, nem sei. Nunca procurei nem saber. Minha função é trabalhar e lutar. E são poucas atletas que têm o meu recorde, então não ligo para isso. Questão do meu sorriso, eu rio um pouco quando eu tô com fome nessas horas, mas eu tenho certeza que após a luta eu vou estar sorrindo novamente.
She said definitely after her fight, after being a champ, she's definitely gonna smile a lot more. That's for sure.
And about the ranking?
About what?
About the ranking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, she mentioned that too. Basically, she said that she doesn't really pay attention to the rankings. As a matter of fact, she's never even looked it up. So that doesn't really bother her. What she does know is that there are very few athletes that have the record that she has. And that's what's important. And, the ranking stuff, that she doesn't pay attention to that. And like she said, the only reason she doesn't smile that much when you see her is because she's cutting weight. But definitely after her win on Thursday night, she'll definitely have a big smile on her face.
Thank you. And a final one from me. Thanks, Dan. You talked about training with men most of the time and that, men beat you up when you're in training. Do you ever think, oh my God, it's actually more difficult training than it is having a world title fight? And how has this year been for women's fight sports?
Ele falou que você sempre está treinando com homem, e muitas vezes você está treinando com homem, e você vê que realmente, às vezes, treinando com homem é muito mais difícil que lutando numa luta pelo cinturão. E com essa pandemia, como está sendo treinando com outras mulheres, se teve essa oportunidade?
Não, eu treinei realmente apenas com 2 mulheres, mas eu não treino muito com elas, né? Isso muito pouco. Eu estou acostumado a treinar com homem e na pandemia não foi diferente. Só foi treinamento com os meninos mesmos até o final e com certeza treinar com eles é difícil, é árduo, às vezes dá vontade de chorar após o treino, mas é isso, acho que eles me fortalecem, ao mesmo tempo que eles me batem, eles me dão muito carinho, por ser a princesinha deles, eu acho.
Yeah, just for the record, I do train with women once in a while. It's not as many. I trained with a couple women during this camp, but for the most part, most of my training is done with men. And yes, at times it can be very difficult, frustrating. There's days where sometimes I just want to leave practice crying. But as much as they may beat up on me, and they still treat me like their princess, and that's what's important. And I'm well trained for this fight.
Final question, Luis.
Oi, bom dia. So, like Ilima, you're undefeated as well, having already 5 victories in Bellator. Did you expect fighting for the belt in a 3-year span? And what would be the key to defeat somebody that nobody has defeated, being you an undefeated as well?
What's the key to beating an undefeated fighter, seeing as you're undefeated as well?
Que vai ser a chave para você vencer de uma luta contra uma adversária que nunca perdeu, vindo de uma adversária como você que nunca está invicto também?
Eu acho que vai ser uma luta de quem quer mais, né? E eu com certeza eu digo que ninguém quer mais desse título do que eu. Então acho que vai ser uma luta realmente de coração, de quem tem mais coração e de quem quer mais.
Yeah, I believe this fight is really going to come down to who wants it more. You've got 2 undefeated fighters that are obviously well trained. I just, in my mind, I don't see anybody who wants this title and this world championship more than myself. And I think it's really going to boil on to willpower and want and desire to win.
All right. Thank you very much for the time, Juliana, and thank you as well, Ed. Good luck the rest of the week. All right, we are now being joined by Matheus Mattos. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. If you have a question, press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. We'll begin with Steve Jewin. Go ahead, Steve.
Obrigado, Matheus. This is Omaha calling, and this is a very big fight for you to make your Bellator debut. Were you expecting to be on the main card for your first fight in such a high-profile fight with Magomed Magomedov?
Actually, I didn't expect to be in the co-main event, but at first I saw it was going to be the main card. And when I heard from Captain that I was going to be the co-main event, I was really happy. I mean, working on it. I'm going to put all my life there. That's the perfect co-main event for me.
Excellent. Now, you train with the Pitbull brothers, so obviously you've got world-class training partners and world champion caliber people that you work with. How has that prepared you for this big of a fight?
Yeah, my camping in Pitbull brothers was really well, but a lot of training partners of mine have a lot of COVID symptoms, so I had to change it. But all training is based on Patricio's camping, right? We have been training for fighting the best. That's what Patricio does. We train smarter, we rest more, we just do, perfect trainings for everybody. Our training is based on the world champion. So I decided to come to Fight Ready to US because I didn't have more training partners. I only had one and wasn't enough because of the COVID. And so I came to the Fight Ready to finish my camping here, and when it really went so well.
All right, one more thing for me, since you mentioned COVID being a problem with the training. How has that changed for you, having had fights previously all around the world to the situation we're in now and flying into Uncasville and being in the quarantine zone?
Yeah, as I said, I only had one training partner in Brazil because of the COVID. The training got so restricted. We had like 1.5 hours of training, and wasn't so good. So Captain me just decided that come to Fight Ready, come to US will be the best option, because if some lockdown happens, I will be already here. And so there will be less risks than being in Brazil, and then try to figure out what to do. So that's it.
Donna Corby.
Hey, Matheus, how's it going?
Esse cara do Irlândia, cara.
Yeah, that's is that Eric behind you talking?
Yes,
Hey, what's up? Right. So actually, yeah, let's get into that. Is there anyone in this SPG Ireland rivalry you have an interest in fighting?
What? Can you repeat,
Se
please?
você tem interesse em lutando alguém da SBG.
Of course I have. Of course I have. I mean, our Patricio, our general, won the first battle, but the war has just begun. I want big challenge. Send me whoever you want. I'll be ready for them.
Is there any names in particular?
That's Brian Moore, James Gallagher. Who else? Just send to me. You know where I am.
Talk to me about Matheus Magomedov. Magomed Magomedov. A huge amount of hype following this guy's name. I know people are talking about how he's beaten Peter Yan. He's got this great hype coming in. What do you see in his game as things that you can expose, and are you planning on sort of ending the hype train on Thursday night?
Yeah, I've been thinking about fighting him for a long time. Since my first fight in ACB, he fought in the same night, and then he sent me some texts on Instagram, and I think he was worried about me since that day. So my training was perfect for him. I picked the right partners for it, and my game against his game, I just want to be aggressive and hurt him until he surrender. So I can visualize this fight going any results than my hand being raised in the end. No matter what he does, I will come up and hurt him.
Jim?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I wondered, who then did you bring with you for this fight?
What?
Who did you bring with you for this fight?
Okay.
Você trouxe quem aqui com você, os treinadores?
Actually, I just brought Everton Lopes. He's an Olympic champion boxing, and he's the best coach I have ever seen. We were training strategy for this fight against Magomed, and he was pucked for me because I improved a lot on my striking game. Only this 4 and 3 weeks we arrived in Phoenix, and I can feel that I'm ready. I'm ready to hurt him and make him pay for everything he does at this fight.
And lastly, for me, training and physically, you learn from Coach Eric, you learn from the Pitbull brothers. Mentally, how has your game changed since training with them?
I don't think my game actually changed. I think I just have improved a lot of my wrestling and my grappling game, which helps me to put my striking game better. So I'm not worried about takedowns. I'm not worried about jiu-jitsu. I just want to go there and hurt him. I want to punch, I want to kick, I want to knee him and make him surrender, no matter what.
Gareth?
Hi, Matheus. Can I just ask Eric a question first of all, please?
Go ahead.
Eric, is there any chance you can manage me in a fight with Steve Duon, the other journalist on the line who keeps taking the piss out of me, the English guy, and I'll beat him up in a charity match while I commentate on me beating him up, and I'll write my words all over his back. Are we on?
Wow. Tell me how you really feel.
Merry Christmas, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
An interesting question right off the bat.
The question for the question is really no. Steve's taking the mickey, and he's welcome to. It's fun. Matheus, why aren't you calling out to fight for the belt after this victory? You'd be 13-1, I think it'll be. Why aren't you calling out for the belt?
I believe I want to call out some guys of SBG. They have spoke too much and nothing happened. Brian Moore, James Gallagher, I don't care who's going to be, but they know where to find me.
But do you not want to? I mean, you're 28. You're very mature physically. Do you want to be patient to fight for the championship then?
Então, você quer ser paciente.
Yeah, I want to be patient because my last fight was 2 years and 7 months ago. I think I believe I leave one fight for the moment, and I want just to focus on this fight and see what we can get with this win over Magomed.
Eric has spoken to me though, and he says you're the future champion of this division.
That's good. That's my plan.
Thanks very much, guys. I'm really sorry I'm not there. Have a great fight on Thursday night. Thank you, Matheus. Cheers, Eric.
Cheers, mate.
All right, our
Hi.
last question comes from the line of Luis Morales. Go ahead, Luis.
Hi. You have 3 fights in ACB. You are a former tough fighter and only have a loss against Piotr Jan. Why didn't you fight in 2 years, and how do you feel in your return?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit difficult for getting the rhythm again, the fighting rhythm, but but I have a lot of great training partners. We did a lot of sparring sessions to make me feel like I'm ready for this fight, getting back the rhythm and put my aggressive again, my boxing, my striking game. So, but in the end, everything went perfect. I brought Everton Lopes, and I'm with Captain America. They just put it all to me and work with me every day, every time, 24/7 with me to put me in my best shape for this fight.
All right. Thank you very much for the time, Matheus, and thank you as well, Eric. Good luck this week.
Thank you, brother.
Little change in plans here. Next up, we have Nate Andrews. Again, this is going to be Nate Andrews, not Ronny Markes. So I apologize for that, but if you're queued up for a question for Hany, please make sure to take your raise hand down. And next up, we have Nate Andrews. So if you have a question for Nate, go ahead and click that raise hand button. We are now being joined by Nate Andrews. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve June, your line is now live.
Nate, thank you for the time today. This is a very high-profile fight. It's Goiti Yamauchi, a stalwart of the Bellator lightweight division. How do you see yourself matching up with him in this fight?
I see myself matching up really well with him. That's why we took this fight. You know, he's a tough, very talented, very skillful fighter. And I'm very excited to match my skills against him and show the world where I stand.
Do you feel this is an opportunity to not only just show the world who you are, but reinvent yourself a little after the way things went in the PFL?
Yeah, exactly. It's a chance for me to show, you know, like I said, show the world who I am and show the things that I've worked on. And, you know, a fight with a guy like this is good. It's not just a wrestler that's just going to want to hold me down and just win out the clock. You know, he goes out there to finish. So, you know, he's going to be looking for his submissions. He's going to be looking for his strikes. So it's going to be a good fight.
All right. We look forward to it on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Donna?
Hey, Nate, what's up?
How you doing?
You've been not too bad. You've been in there with some really, you know, impressive guys. I'm thinking you've got to win over Bryce Logan. Where does Goiti Yamauchi rank in terms of the good opponents you've been in with?
He's probably going to be one of the top guys that I've had to fight skill wise. You know, he has great strikes on the feet, and you know, he has great jiu-jitsu. So it's one of those things where anywhere on the fight is going to be a tough spot. But I'm excited to show, you know, my skill level on the feet and my skill level on the ground. You know, if you look how many submissions he has, if you look at my record, you see just as many finishes by submission as well.
Of course, you were supposed to fight Achilles Mota back in March on this first event that was a casualty of this whole pandemic. Talk to me a bit about how your training has been since then and sort of how you've kept the intensity going when everything was so uncertain about when you would get back in the cage, if you would get back in the cage this year, and a bit about that.
Yeah, you know, that was really tough to train for a full training camp and then come to not fight. And then after that, you know, everything really did slow down. I didn't get to train as much as I wanted to. And then once things started opening back up, then, you know, we started getting, you know, feeling a little more safe. You start calling your training partners up and things start opening up and you start training and things kind of went back to normal pretty much inside the gyms. And luckily I have my own gym, so I was able to do my, you know, strength conditioning and bag work on my own and stuff. So I was able to stay pretty active most of the time.
How does this fight end on Thursday night?
I honestly I don't know how it's going to end, but it is going to end with my hand raised. I don't know if I'm going to finish on the feet or on the ground. But I plan on getting another finish on my record and putting my name as a staple in Bellator.
All right, we'll take a couple more here. Luis?
So you have amassed over the last 8 years a 16-3 record, and 2 of those 3 losses come from a former UFC fighter in PFL. Now you are off to a fresh start in Bellator. How do you feel, and what would be your main goal in this promotion?
I'm excited to fight for Bellator, and my main goal in Bellator is to get my name out there and known, and eventually fight for a title fight. So the goal right now is just as the names come, take them on, take them down.
And basing us from your experience, do you feel like kind of ready to ask for that title shot in a couple of fights?
I feel like a big win tonight, and then whatever next is on the table that they offer. Everything is leading to something like that. Yes.
Last one, Rick.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. My question is, now you're coming into Bellator. You used to fight in if I'm correct, PFL. How's the transition from going to PFL to Bellator?
The transition's been great. PFL was a good organization. They gave me some opportunities, and it was great to fight for them. And now the opportunity has come over here at Bellator, and I'm very excited to be part of this organization.
All right, Nate. Thanks for the time today, and good luck the rest of the week.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ronny Markes. We are now being joined by Ronny Markes. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Hany, thank you for the time. And we spoke a year ago when you were scheduled to face Josh Barnett in Hawaii. Obviously, that didn't happen. It was rescheduled, and then he failed a medical test and was ineligible. And then you were supposed to face Matt Mitrione, and the pandemic happened, and that whole card got canceled. Now you're facing Linton Vassell. So after this whirlwind year, how are you feeling with all these events that have taken place?
I feel good, first of all, I feel a little sad because the fights don't happen twice, but I can't do not for this, And right now I have the opportunity to fight Linton. I'm so happy for that and waiting for Thursday night.
Do you think Linton might be a little underrated as a heavyweight? I know that not every fight since he moved up has worked out, but he's got a very big frame for the weight class, and it seems like a natural fit for him.
Yeah, he's a big guy for the heavyweight, I think it's a good match. He's strong, dude. I'm very excited for this fight.
All right, and how do you see it playing out on Thursday?
I tell you before, I train everything. It's hard to come here and say I'm gonna submit him because in the fight you never know. Sometimes you see the opportunity, they put one hand and the fight is gone. But I'm waiting in the stand-up, I'm waiting in the grapple, everything.
Jay?
Thanks very much. And Hany, welcome back. One of the side effects of being sitting for so long, you've been able to watch all these fights in the empty arena. How do you expect it to be when you go in there? Are you looking forward to the experience, or would you rather have the fans present?
Sorry, you can ask
Are
again.
you looking forward to having no fans there, or do you prefer fans in attendance?
Oh, always I prefer fans. The crowd I think is better for the fighter. You push you. I think it is nice for the show. But I really understand the situation right now, and I need to follow the rules.
And are you still interested in either Josh Barnett or Matt Mitrione moving forward?
Of course, Josh Barnett. But right now, my focus is in Linton. He very very talented fighter. He fight for he challenged twice in the light heavyweight. I tell you before in Phil's interview, it's hard for you. You fight for the title one time in a big promotion, because I have a lot of killers there, and he do that for twice, and he very tough dude. But yeah, in the future, I really like to fight Barnett because a lot of fans send message and asking when I'm gonna fight him again. I say I don't know, asking Bellator or the commission. I don't know how his situation right now. I don't gonna talk nothing bad about him. I respect him. He legend. He have beautiful career, but I don't know the situation right now, and I expect to fight him in the future.
Daniel.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Knowing that you've been gone for a while with your stint with the PFL, is there a sense of fatigue with you when it comes to training multiple times for all these matchups, knowing that they're going to get canceled due to injuries or the COVID pandemic? Is there anything that concerns you with your upcoming matchup, knowing that you've trained many times for these fights?
It's hard. You do full camp train for one fight and coming week the fights don't happen. But I think it's nothing affecting. I think I train. I think I fix something. I have mistakes, and right now I have the opportunity to show everything inside the cage.
Donna.
Hey, Ronnie, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Not too bad. To kind of touch on what you just answered in the last one, it's been a difficult period for training. It's been tough for fighters to get training properly. How is your fitness going into this one?
I don't hear.
He wants to know about your fitness going into this one, based on what's happened in the past fights.
Sorry.
How are you feeling?
No, I feel good. I feel right now this fight didn't happen. I feel some good. I think this fight happened right now. And I'm very excited for this fight, man. I stay away from my family for 4 weeks, for 4 months, because for the COVID, the coronavirus situation. After the Meteorons cancels, I'm going with my family in Brazil for vacation 1 month, and the American consulate they shut down, and my family can't come back because cannot renew the visa for pick the stamp, and my family is still there. In the last 4 months, so hard for me, and especially the 4 months because my little baby, she feel a lot, and man, I'm very excited to win this fight and back with my family. I'm gonna give this win for my family, for sure.
When you saw other Brazilian fighters coming to America to fight during this pandemic, of course, we saw Patricky Pitbull has been there, Leandro Ego. Did it give you a little bit of hope that you would be able to return and be able to fight during this?
Oh yeah, this time I'm here inside the country, in Bellator work in my visa too for change my states and in the US. And I know I have the fight. I only need to waiting for the time that my visa come back, and that's it.
All right, thank you very much for your time, man.
Thank you.
All right, Ryan.
Thank you. How are we doing today? Ryan Sprague from MMA News. Mr. Marquez, obviously you're fighting a very experienced fighter, but you are just as experienced. Do you think that, as we were touching on it before, the time off for each of you is kind of been draining? Does it take a different mindset after a 1.5 year layoff?
Oh, it's hard you stay away to the fight. I really like to stay busy, but I train with a lot of killers, every single day,
and I think I fixed something I have bad. Let's see Thursday.
Well, again, Thursday's right around the corner. So with a victory in this, I know that people had touched on whether you'd want to rebook any of those fights that were scrapped. Are you thinking about that at all?
Are you thinking about the past fights that maybe got scrapped? Fights that got called off? Are you thinking about those guys, Mitrione?
Yeah, I think in the future, I really like to fight Barnett. I think this fight need to happen because everybody like to see this fight, because I'm there waiting for a step in the cage, and I think 40 minutes before the fight is canceled. And Mitrione jump inside the jump in the fight in March because Josh have some problem with the commission. I don't know what problem, but the match is I'm very excited to fight him in the future. But right now, as my focus is Linton.
All right, last one here, Lenny.
Hi, Ronny. How are you?
Good. How are you, bro?
I'm good. Thank you very much. My last question is, the last question out of all of it is, if you fought I forgot his name, but my question is, with a win over Linton Vassell, do you feel like you'll get maybe a shot at the title after next, or maybe the same credibility that you would get if you fought I forgot his name, his head went out of name, but if you feel like a win over Linton Vassell will give you a lot of credit?
Sorry?
Win over Linton Vassell, would that give you a lot of credit? Maybe a title shot down the road?
Oh, of course. I think I have a lot of credit, but I don't think the title shot. Right now, I think the title shot, who deserve this title shot is Tim Johnson. He's my teammate, and he worked hard for the last 2 wins. I think he deserved this. I think after win Linton, I need to pick maybe one or couple more fights, and I right now I really like to stay busy fight. I don't think about belt right now. I like to fight, stay busy, win for my family.
Yeah, sorry about that. I lost my words. My original question was a win over Josh Barnett compared to a win over Linton Vassell. Do you feel like a win over Josh Barnett would have?
I really believe because I see in a few interviews, Scott Cooker say for Barnett to fight for the title, he need to win before in Bellator. He need to have one win inside the cage of the Bellator, and I think I'm beating Josh. Of course, I'm in a line for the title because man, he's a legend. He's world champion. You know him. He's a legend. It's completely different win. Have a win with him and have more power.
All right. Thanks for the time, Hany. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, we are now being joined by Linton Vassell. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Jay Anderson, your line is now live.
And Linton, welcome back. I want to start going back to the last fight somewhat. I know you fought heavyweight prior to Bellator, but with a couple of fights under your belt now and the win over Sergey, do you really feel like you've settled in the weight class?
Yeah, I really do. I felt like the first fight, I just came in too heavy, thinking, the heavier you are, the better you are. Again, that's not the case, because if you've never fought at that weight and you just go into a fight like that, it's totally different. You've got to think of obviously the lights, the cameras, the adrenaline rush, the person trying to punch and kick you, trying to move. And I felt like them extra pounds that I had on definitely played a factor. So I went back and I spoke to the coaches, and we just said, maybe bring it back. Don't come in as heavy. I walk around about 240 anyway. So why not just stay at that weight? There's no need to add on extra weight. And yeah, I really feel like my performance, showed everyone that I'm here to stay. And, I'm going to prove that wasn't a fluke.
And you had the third round finish, obviously some excellent ground and pound work.
Second round.
Second round, sorry about that.
Second round, mate.
And then Hany's kind of a different beast. He's got the black belt, different fighter on the ground. So how do you approach this one?
Again, I'm not bothered about the ground game, because I fought black belts before. I trained with black belts, and I'm a grappler myself. So yeah, if it goes to the ground, I'm more than happy to show him, that I'm the better grappler on the ground, as well as the better striker on the feet. So I haven't got a problem with it going to the ground at all.
And last one for me, I asked Hany this as well. He missed the fans being present. What are your expectations in the empty arena? Are you looking forward to being able to hear that corner a little clearer, or are you a guy who feeds off that energy from the crowd?
You know what? It is nice to have people chanting your name, but also, at the end of the day, I feel like when you do fight, you sort of zone out anyway. Again, like the coach is shouting your name, you do hear set words, but you're in there sort of, not on your own, but you end up sort of having tunnel vision, and it sort of ends up, you're just on autopilot a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to miss the fans, but also I feel like it's not really going to change that much. But again, we will see.
Steve Jewin.
Thank you, Linton. We've spoken a few times before, so I feel like you're the right guy to ask this question. Gareth Davies challenged me to a charity fight, your fellow countryman. So if I needed a sparring partner, somebody in my corner, would you be available?
I don't know, I could do it to Gareth though,
I was hoping maybe you could, but I'll respect it, Gareth. It's nothing but love. I just like
I know.
But seriously, though, this fight, it's you've had just one opponent to train for, and that's Ronny Markes, but he's trained for multiple people. So do you feel you're better prepared at this point than him?
Yeah, I do. And also I feel like I've been more active than him as well. He's had, I think, 3 different opponents, but now I'm obviously going to be his 4th. But yeah, I feel like I'm more prepared than him, and I feel like it will show on the night as well.
I know you just mentioned that beating Sergey wasn't a fluke, but what does it mean to you, not just to get a win over Sergey, but to get a win over Hany and really say, I'm here to stay at heavyweight?
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly the statement I'm going to make. I'm here to stay. Some people may think it was a fluke and whatever, but I had the right game plan, the right mindset. I knew what to do, and I had the right game plan, and I executed it right. So a big win over Ronny will show people that I'm either next or one more fight to fight for that title.
Gareth?
What's up, mate?
Yeah, this is London calling, Linton. How are you?
London's calling.
I'm really glad you decided not to go into the corner of Steve Jewin.
Hey, see, I didn't even know he was online. There we go, man.
Yeah,
my
allegiance. Beat down. It might be in the bar, but whatever.
Might be in the bar, yeah?
Yeah. It's lovely to see you, mate. You look so well. But I every time I look at you now, I can't believe you made 205. And when you look back on it now, do you do the same thing?
Yes, I look at myself and I'm like, what did I do? I look like a stick action figure. It's and it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice cutting that weight. But I mentioned to the other guys in the other room, just interviewed just then, I had such a good run at light heavyweight. Like, I fought some of the best, beat some of them, lost to some of them, had 2 title fights. So that's why I felt like I kept at it. It was that hunt for light heavyweight. But yeah, now at heavyweight, I do think to myself, why did I do that to myself? But again, we're here now, we're at heavyweight, and I feel good. I feel amazing.
You look amazing as well.
Thank you.
It's a weird thing, though, isn't it? That psychologically, it's not just you. There are so many fighters in boxing, in MMA, who realize in the end there is a weight they should be at. And you might be 5'10". Mike Tyson was 5'10" in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but it's his skill set. So
yeah,
you've got this. I mean, you're happier. I mean, is it better? Do you find it's better being happier in fight week?
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah, because it's stressful. People that don't fight, it's different. They don't understand the stress you get. You're like, oh, it's fight week, damn. And you got all these things going through your head. You don't want to get knocked out. You don't want to lose. You don't want to get embarrassed. All these things, it's just being human. So yeah, being able, and obviously cutting weight, you can't eat. You know what I mean? You can't drink. You know what I mean? People are talking to you and you get a bit antsy and a bit agitated. You know, you can't do certain things. At heavyweight, I can still eat, go to bed with a full belly, drink as much water as I like. You know what I mean? The energy is so much better. And even in the training room, I can actually give my all rather than I'm cutting weight and not be able to punch the pads properly or kick properly or do like a sprawl. So it's so much better for people that are thinking of doing it. I would definitely suggest give it a go. You know, if you want them people that are cutting so much weight and feeling horrible, you know, when it comes to fight day or cut the weight cut day, then definitely give it a try.
And finally, Linton, before Dan cuts me off,
well, cut me off. I'm the one rambling.
Basically, I know you've got to get through Ronny Markes on Thursday, and you're both formidable fighters. Will you not be content in your career unless you have a run at the title in Bellator and that you at least fight for it, if not win it?
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. My passion is to win that. You know what I mean? I know I can do it. You know, and I feel like we have these life lessons. You know, I had my try at light heavyweight. Okay, it didn't work. I'm not going to go home and cry about it and stop. Now I found a new life. I feel so much better at heavyweight. You know, so yeah. Again, I'm going to give it a run at heavyweight, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I won't be content. Definitely not. If you know, I don't win.
Jim?
Linton, where did you train for this fight, and who trained you in this one?
So I was at Sanford MMA, my gym back up in Florida. I had quite a lot of people help me for this camp. Not former, but Steve Murray, he's a contender. What's the word I'm looking for? He actually fights for Bellator himself, so he's an athlete, signed athlete to the roster. I can't think of the names. Ong Lang Sang is in my corner. AJ Rumble Johnson, Victor Pesta. The list goes on. So I've had a good training partners. So yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for this.
And you mentioned South Florida and Sanford MMA. I'm in South Florida, and I'm just curious, what is it like there at Sanford MMA? It's just South Florida in general. There's so much MMA talent training in this area.
Yeah, we have the best gym. Again, we have Henry Hooft, we have Greg Jones, we have Cami Barzan, we have Corey Peacock. We have a solid team and a solid coaches. And it's one of the best teams in the world. And I'm glad I made the move, you know. From where I was training in England, I just didn't have the training partners. Here I have everyone from all over the world. So I'm more than happy that I made the move, and it's one of the best gyms in the world, again, as I just said.
And lastly, from me in South Florida, what is it like in the winters down here for you compared to England?
It's still cold. It is still cold. Like I think I'm used to having that Florida weather. So when it goes below like 75, like I'm a bit disappointed, you know. But you know, I'm going back to England soon for a little while. So I think I'll be staying indoors for that.
Thank you.
No worries.
Donna?
Hi, Linton. How's it going?
How you doing? I'm good.
Not too bad. So talk to me about Ronny Markes. Whereabouts, like you fought the absolute creme de la creme of Bellator's light heavyweights, of heavyweights.
Yeah.
Where does he rank in terms of the people you're going to have stepped in there with?
He's up there. He's up there. I wouldn't say he's in the top. On the rank out of 10, he's not in the top 8. Again, that's no disrespect to him because I fought some world champions. But yeah, he's up there. He's up there. And again, he's going to bring it. I know he's not coming to lay down and make it an easy night for me.
And like you've kind of alluded to before, this is very much a fight to secure your spot in the heavyweight division and show people that you're there to stay. Where does it put you in the ranks? It looks like Tim Johnson is going to be the next contender, the next number one. Where do you see yourself in the division, supposing you win on Thursday night?
So I was speaking about this. So I feel like other than the champion, I feel like there's 2 people above me, which is, as I said, you mentioned Tim Johnson and then Modowski. And I feel like I'm right there underneath because I lost to Modowski and Tim's on a 2-fight winning streak. So that's exactly where I feel like I am. And a big win over Ronny, I'd like to fight one of them too next and then, you know, get that title fight.
Last one from me. You're a great British fighter. This weekend, history is being made in British boxing. Anthony Joshua fights your fellow Brit, your fellow heavyweight. Now your fellow heavyweight, right? And for the first time since March, there will be fans at a fight event in the UK. What's your prediction for Saturday night's event?
Yeah, I'm going to go for my boy AJ. You know, he's going to represent just like me.
Lenny?
Sorry about that. How's it going, Linton Vassell? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Lenny Marsh from MMA Unhinged here. We've spoke quite a bit, and MK stand up. You know, MK come from a small city, and now you're fighting on the biggest stages in Bellator. It makes me so happy to see you up there, especially from someone who's in the same city. It's incredible.
MK3,
over a year. Yeah, Bletchley to be precise. Come on.
So we're talking about Bletchley. No one will know what we're talking about, Bletchley. What's Bletchley?
So over a year away out of the cage now, I can presume it's been frustrating to not being able to fight.
It has been frustrating. Again, with no injuries. But the good thing about it, I've been able to constantly train and up my level. So, you know, in a way, I've took a big blessing out of that.
Yeah, you kind of recapped earlier about Sanford MMA. You said Gilbert Burns. You're on a roll at the moment. You got Gilbert Burns. You got Steel Murray at the moment. He's making waves in their Bellator. And you said, most importantly, your Jamaican brother, Jason Jackson. He's doing immense at the moment in Bellator. Yeah, Jason Jackson, that's the one. He's doing immense at the moment in Bellator. How far is he off a title shot?
I would like to say he's probably got a good another 2, maybe 3 fights, I would like to say. You know, I wouldn't like to rush Jason myself. He's an amazing athlete, an amazing friend as well. But I'd say another good three big wins, you know. And like, if he keeps doing the performances like he did against Benson, then yeah, give him a title fight, you know. But I think 3 more and Jason's ready.
Yep, just my last one is Tyrell Fortune. He fought the other week, and he got on the mic and said that you 2 were meant to fight. Could you talk about where that fight went and why it didn't go to plan?
So I was offered like 4 other opponents before Tyrone, and then just came to the point they were like, "We've got no one but Tyrone." I was like, "All right, let's just do it." And then I got a call to fight. I think Sergey again. And then I was like, I've already fought him, so why am I going to fight him again? It wasn't even close. So then they offered that to him. That didn't happen. And then they're like, oh, we've got Ronny Markes for you. Because I think Ronny was supposed to fight Sergey first. And then, you know, something happened. I think Karatonov couldn't get I think Ronny couldn't get the visa or something. And then, yeah, that's how it happened. It's one of them ones, you know.
All right, thanks for the time, Linton. Good luck this week.
No worries, thank you.
All right, we are now being joined by Goiti Yamauchi. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve, your line is now live.
Goiti, thanks for the time today. And this fight with Nate Andrews, it's a very interesting one for him making his Bellator debut, but how interesting of a fight is it for you as a perennial contender in the lightweight division?
Well, I think Nate's a very solid fighter. I'm very excited to see what he has to bring. It's not I wasn't expecting to fight a guy like him, like, you know, he's going to be his debut in Bellator, but I thought interesting. It's good to be back after almost a year without competing. So I think it's a great opponent. It's a great name to come back to the cage.
Speaking of that year, it has been a year since you fought and submitted Darren Cruikshank. What were your expectations after that? Did you think that you were going to be in title contention, or do you think you're a couple more wins away? Because like I said already, you've been in contention so many times and something always seems to go wrong right before you get that shot.
Yeah, I want to say going wrong. I think that's how it is what it is. You know, the sport, I like this word, timing. Sport, competition, it's all about timing, you know. So it was not wrong. It's like I said, it is what it is. My time is now. The losses that I got, it was a good, you know, it was a good learning process. So it made me be here, made me stronger, made me smarter, and cautious. Like I said, I'm patient, and I know my time is gonna come. So I'm hungry. I'm ready. Right mentality, more mature physically and mentally. So yeah, I'm on my way to my prime, and I think it's starting right now. 27 years of age, and I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you in your prime on Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Luis?
Hi, you are 11-3 in Bellator, but you haven't fought already for a title shot. Do you think, with a victory in this fight, do you think you deserve it?
Well, if you tell me, I will always tell you that I deserve the title shot, but it's not up to me. I got to earn it. You know, I got to earn the opportunity to fight. I'm not this kind of fighter that asks for title shot all the time without, you know, you got to earn to fight and have convincing wins the squad come to you and say, all right, boy, do you deserve the title shot. That's what I want. I don't want to keep asking. I want some solid wins before my title shot. Like I said, the sport, it's all about timing. I have to make some big fights before the 5 rounds against the champion. So, I'm not here just to say that I'm here. I want to be a solid champion. I want to be a double champion. I want to be the best champion in this organization. I dream big. I don't want to be just a champion, a usual champion. So I have patience. It's all about timing. I'm young. I'm just 27 years old. I'm already 27 years old. People keep saying that I'm young. That's good because I'm fighting high-profile athletes, and I'm still young. That's that's an advantage. So I'm happy with it. My time is coming, and I'm getting ready for it.
With the champion fighting in featherweight tournament, do you think is necessary an interim lightweight champion?
Excuse me one more time.
With the champion fighting in the featherweight tournament, do you think it's necessary an interim the championship?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but like I said, it's not up to me. We got to see if it is interesting. I think it is very interesting, because it's been more than almost 2 years without a title defense. Pitbull, the last fight was against Chandler, so it's been a long time. It would be nice to have an interim belt, so we could have like a pre-title fight, like me against somebody else, or the two top guys in the division fighting each other to the Patricio Pitbull led tournament. So it will be interesting. We cannot sit there and do nothing. We got to compete, So we'll see.
We'll take 1 or 2 more. Rick?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And you, bro?
Hey, good. My question is, after what happens on Thursday night, is there any opponent you want come for your next fight for the next year?
Yep. Former champions like Ben Henderson, Brent Primus. I'm not that kind of fighter that just I'm here to ask for my next opponents. I know they want to fight me. I know they want this fight too, so I'm here. I'm calling them up. Let's go. It's time to fight for what we are looking for. We want the gold. Let's go.
Donna?
Hey, mate, how's it going?
Good, and you, bro?
Not too bad. So, talk to me a little bit about, you just mentioned there that the lightweight title picture. Of course, it all depends really on what Patricio Pitbull does. Do you believe that he's going to win this featherweight tournament?
Yeah, I think Pitbull is the favorite for this tournament. I think he's the most important fighter of this organization. So yeah, he got everything to win this tournament. But everything can happen. He got some tough opponents in this tournament, but we'll see. I hope he don't hurt himself so bad, and he can come back to the lightweight division, and we can have a fair fight or whatever is going to be his next fight in the lightweight division. But I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, I know that it would definitely suit you a bit better if all of his fights went like the last one where he took like no damage and won very quickly. Another fighter who you have been in there with in the Bellator cage has now made the move somewhere else, Michael Chandler. How do you reckon he's going to do over in the UFC?
Well, good to him. I'm happy. He's going to, I think it's going to be his biggest opportunity to show what he's been looking for. He made a lot of things in Bellator, so it was a good, like I said, timing to change and going to the UFC for was good. I wish him all the best for Michael Chandler. Hopefully he got the belt.
A year out of the cage for you now. How have you found training during this pandemic, and did you think you would be able to get out before the end of the year?
Yeah, it was tough times this year. Was I wasn't, like I said, there was a lot of change in not just in the training camp, but in my whole life. So I'm just happy to be here, to be fighting, competing, even cutting weight right now. I'm just happy to be here doing what I love. So I'm very grateful for Bellator and everybody else here, for all the media. I just love it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Goiti, and good luck on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Magomed Magomedov. We apologize for the lengthy delay on our end, but we will bring you Magomed Magomedov in just a minute. All right, we are now being joined by Magomed Magomedov. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve Jewin, your line is now live.
Thank you, Dan. Magomed, it's good to talk to you today. Several reporters on the line before me, some of my esteemed colleagues, have already mentioned that your only loss to date is to Peter Yan. So going into this fight in Bellator, do you take that as a chip on your shoulder that the only guy to beat you is now a champion in another organization?
Давид, Магомед, ты проиграл только чемпиону Петруяну. Чувствуешь ли ты какую-нибудь ответственность на своих плечах, то, что ты сейчас дерешься здесь и только ему проиграл?
Больше спрашивает, что мол, тебя волнует, что ты кому проиграл, сейчас чемпион другой организации, что в смысле матч реванш не получится.
Никаких волнений, никаких сожалений нету. Я Bellator, и я здесь не просто так. И где бы я ни находился, какой-либо организации, всегда я хочу быть номер один и буду стараться стать чемпионом этой организации.
In any promotion where I'm fight, I'm here to be champion, and nothing matter for me about Bellator. I'm here for be champion, and I should win.
All right, and with this fight against Matheus Mattos, how do you see yourself matching up with him, and where does it put you in that title contention that you're looking for?
Бой с Матеусом Матосом. Что ты думаешь об этом?
И как ты думаешь, где ты будешь котироваться с выигрышем против Мато по отношению к титулу?
Котироваться?
Ну, в смысле, вот если ты побьешь Матеус Матова, где ты будешь в рейтинге ближе к титулу?
Я сейчас не заглядываю за спину Матоса, потому что это серьезный оппонент. Хоть он тоже дебютант. Очень, тоже немало боев, с хорошими пацанами дрался он. И как-то об этом, честно сказать, не думал. Я сейчас думаю, прежде всего, о выступлении в четверг, как бы одержать победу. А потом уже сама организация и там рейтинги сами определят, где я буду находиться по моему уровню.
He said, I don't want to look past Matheus Mattos. He's a very tough opponent. He's very experienced. He's beaten some really good guys. So right now I'm just focused on beating him. And then once I win this fight, then Bellator can decide where that puts me in a title contention. And, the rest of it will sort itself out.
Jay?
Thanks very much. And Magomed, welcome to Bellator. I want to start with something your opponent said earlier. He said that he believes you've been worried about him since you were both in ACB and that you sent him some messages on Instagram back in the day when you both fought on the same card. What did you say to him, and is he someone that did have your eye back then?
Он сказал, что твой оппонент до этого в интервью сказал, что ты, в принципе, о нем волновался еще, когда вы в ACB оба были, как соперника, и ты даже послал ему сообщения по интернету через сеть какие-то. Что ты ему послал, и ты, в смысле, ты следил за ним как оппонент даже в ACB, или только сейчас как бы заинтересовался им?
Нет, такого не было, что следил. Я просто там информацию выслал, что пополнил ростер боец из Бразилии. Я за ним не следил, просто его рекорд был, не ошибаюсь, 10-0. Я просто шутку написал, я говорю, ты потеряешь 0 этой организации всего лишь. Вот так и явно получилось, он потерял 0 и покинул организацию. Я был прав.
He said, no, I wasn't really keeping an eye on him. What happened is I heard that ACB signed a top prospect from Brazil, and at the time he was 10-0. And what I wrote him in a message was, hey, you're going to lose that O, and which he did, and then he left. So I was right.
And you were asked about Petr Yan already. Do you find that people focus on those fights too much and not on your other career accomplishments and on your future?
Мы уже говорили о Питере Яне. Ты думаешь, что очень многие как бы зацикливаются вот на этом одном бою, который ты проиграл, и не смотрят на все остальные, которые ты выиграл? Ты, во-первых, побил его Питер Ян тоже?
Запомнили, как будто я проиграл, люди забывают, что я тоже его выиграл в первом бою, и второй бой тоже был достаточно такой близкий. И не знаю, что сказать, я дрался, и серьезным соперником у меня не было проходных боев. Ни одного боя не было, я 16 боев провел, и каждый оппонент был по-своему опасен, по-своему силен. И просто с Яном у меня получилось такие зрелищные 2 поединка. Из-за этого люди запомнили по этим поединкам. Как и меня, так и его.
He said, well, people just focus on the fight, the one fight that I lost, which, by the way, was a very close fight, but people are forgetting that I also beat him. And both fights were very exciting, and I have 16 victories against top opponents. I've never had an easy fight, never had a gimme fight. All the guys I've beaten were top guys. So, it's the same for him. His only loss is to him. So.
All right, we'll take a couple more. Connor?
Hey, Magomed. You enter a stacked division at 135, but do you have a timetable in mind for how long it will take you to rise to the top?
135 паундов, здесь, в принципе, очень много хороших бойцов, достойных бойцов. Ты себе где-то прикидываешь примерно, сколько тебе нужно будет боев, чтобы дойти до титульного боя?
Я думаю, где-то боев 2-3 надо будет сделать. Смотря с кем подерюсь. А так, да, бойцы Bellator, которые на мою вес, очень хорошие бойцы. Я за некоторыми следил, за чемпионом. Чемпионский бой видел. Я думаю, мне предстоит тяжелая работа, чтобы дойти до титула и забрать ее. Это само собой. Здесь, проходного ничего не будет.
He said, I don't know, maybe 2-3 fights. I mean, the division is stacked. I've paid attention to some of these guys. They're very, very tough. There's definitely no easy fights at 135 on the way to the title. He said, I saw the title fight. It's tough guys. I have my work cut out for me, but that's the goal. The goal is to get to the title.
Yeah. And I know you've been at Nicatone's MMA working with Mark Henry. How has Mark kind of, developed your game?
Мы знаем, что ты работал с Марк Хенри. Как тебе он помог развить твои качества?
Да, я с Марком достаточно давно работаю уже. Уже третий год получается, когда я приезжаю сюда, там помогал Забиту Тимуру. Всегда я с ним там работал, что-то исправляли. У меня, как у всех бойцов, есть ошибки, и Марк мне где-то доработал, где-то подсказал. И, в принципе, я уже, не первый день в спорте, я уже давно в спорте, и как бы укомплектованный боец, но мне надо где-то исправлять свои ошибки, мелочи. И Марк мне помог в этом.
He said, I've been working with Mark for 3 years now. He's worked with some of my teammates. He's always good. He's always there to pick up and fix a few little things, the little nuances. He said, I'm not new to the game. I've been around. So, but just like any other fighter, there's always some things you can work on better and some things that are little tweaks that need to be made. And that's where he's very helpful.
Last one, Donna.
Hey man, talk to me about Matheus Mattos as an opponent. I mean, they really are. They're throwing you in at the deep end. I don't know if they have that phrase over there, but a baptism of fire, right?
Скажи нам про твоего соперника. Он очень сильный соперник, и видно, что Bellator тебе не дает легкие проходные бои изначально. Сразу ты прыгаешь, кажется, глубокую сторону бассейна, я не знаю, такой перевод по-английски как-то. Короче, нелегкие бои для тебя.
Я уже, у меня 16-17 боев, и как-то там под меня соперников подстраивают уже, это как-то не так было бы. И люди уже, которые разбираются в боях, это уже поняли бы это. Кого дали, того дали. Мне разницы нет, с кем драться. Если я выбираю соперника не собираюсь. Первый матчмейкер знает, предложили мне соперника, я согласился. Никаких проблем. Кого предложат, с ними будем драться. Мы здесь для этого.
He said, well, I've been fighting for a long time. I have 16 fights, all against top guys. So, I wasn't expecting an easy opponent anyway. And the fans nowadays are too educated to see, and they would see right through it. That's not what he's here for. So he goes, they're all tough. So whoever they give me, that's who I fight. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to fight whoever they put in front of me and do my job. So to me, it doesn't matter.
All right. Thanks, Magomed. Good luck this week. Next up, we have Davion Franklin.
Интервью будет еще.
We are now being joined by Davion Franklin. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Connor, your line is now live.
Hey, Davion, how you doing?
How are you, sir?
Good, good. Thanks for asking. You're very powerful, big slams, heavy punches, went to a decision last time around. How much focus have you put on in this camp as far as, taking your time and maybe conserving some energy?
That was my main focus this camp, is just pacing myself. It's all about the pace. I think that was my biggest learning experience, because it's not that I didn't have the cardio. It was just more like pacing myself.
Yeah. And some remember Garrett from his no contest with Hager. He's coming off a win over J.W. Kaiser back in October. I know you fought Kaiser earlier this year as well. So are you able to take anything from that and compare both of those fights, since they are kind of fresh and within the year?
With all due respect to J.W. Kaiser, I mean, I think he's a sweetheart of a guy, but J.W. Kaiser is 43 years old. He's a smaller heavyweight. And I watched his last fight with Anthony Garrett, and he didn't look how he looked when he faced me. I think when he faced me, he was more in shape. But Anthony Garrett also gotten taken down by J.W. Kaiser. So I don't know. I don't think you can really compare the two. And plus, he fought J.W. Kaiser a few years before as well. So I don't know. J.W. Kaiser's a nice guy, though, so I don't want to say anything bad about him.
All right on. Thanks, Davion. Have a good one.
Yep, no problem.
Steve Jewin.
So on that very note, would you say the same thing about Ross Hilton? Did you think he was a nice guy too?
I thought he was a nice guy when I heard him in the interviews, but I didn't. He was also saying that he was going to beat me, and I just think, like, when you say like things like that to me, the nice guy, what I think about him goes out the window. It's just I'm in a whole different kind of zone.
Understandable. So you've got the nickname All Day. I know you already talked about pacing yourself and having great cardio. So
Yes, sir.
did you get that name from how you train in the gym, that you're ready to go all day, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, and that doesn't matter?
It wasn't necessarily about the rounds the rounds and the distance I can go. It was just more so I got the name from my general manager at the gym, Michael. He's a Russian dude or whatever, but I can't say his last name. But I got his name because I was just training all day, like literally just training session after training session. Like my first fight that was supposed to happen in November, I was supposed to fight a guy named Christian Adams. And it was my first fight ever. I went straight to Bellator, no amateur experience. So I was just so just focused. I wouldn't let nothing get in my way. I was just relentless in my training. I think I was training like 6 to 7 times a day. He's like, you're in this gym all day. So I was like, you know what? I should just call myself All Day. I mean, I need a cool nickname anyway.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you all day on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Luis.
Start 2-0 in Bellator, 2-0 as a pro, both of them in 2020, both of them against fighters with more pro experience than you. What's your mindset, or what motivates you to take these fighters? Being Garrett, no exception to this.
One more time, sir, please.
Could you repeat that?
Yes. Starting 2-0 in Bellator, 2-0 as a pro, both of them in 2020, both of them against fighters with more pro experience than you. What's your mindset, or what motivates you to take these fighters? Being Garrett, no exception to this.
Yeah, I just think at this level of my career right now, everybody who I fight is gonna have more experience than me. So it never matters if someone has more experience than me, because that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Donald.
Hey, Davion, how's it going?
How are you, sir?
Not too bad. So you mentioned J.W. Kaiser a little bit ago. Another guy on his resume is the great Jake Hager, a big name in the Bellator heavyweight division. Any interest in maybe stepping in there with him at some stage?
I mean, I'm just fighting whoever Bellator puts my way. I'm just focused on building my legacy. Hopefully once I'm have enough impressive wins, Jake Hager would want to fight me. So I'm not really stretching. I'm not really trying to get a big fight. I mean, I'm knocking down whoever they put in my way. I'm not really looking for anybody.
A word on Jackson Wink, of course, is where you're training at the moment. How has that been throughout this process?
I love it at Jackson Wink. It's high elevation training and high level coaches. What's not to love?
It really is. So how is this fight going to end against Anthony Garrett on Thursday night?
I can't tell you. I mean, the last prediction I made, it didn't go so well. So I learned my lesson. I'm not making any predictions. I'm just gonna go out there and do my thing. That's all I can tell you.
All right. Thanks for the time, Davion. Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you, guys.
We are now being joined by Ilima-Lei Macfarlane. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Steve Jewin, go ahead.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Ilima-Lei. It's always great when I get a chance to talk to the champ, and hopefully Dan will give us a little leeway since we don't get the one-on-ones like we used to. But first of all, I've been humbled a few times on this call already. Nate Andrews, Linton Vassell, and the loquacious and venerable Gareth A. Davies. So if you could do me the honor and humble me one more time as I concede to him that he is the better man, what is the difference between a Bravo choke and a Darce choke?
A Bravo choke?
Yes. Nate
Dude,
Andrews told me he didn't get a Bravo choke when I asked him that.
Oh, I don't even know, dude. I'm 10th Planet. We have like completely different terms. I don't even know what a Bravo choke is. I won't be humbling you.
Oh, well, I guess I get off easy today then. But speaking of not getting off easy, this pandemic has been hard on everyone. And I know it's especially hard on you because right now is the time of year where we'd be talking about you going home, seeing your family, having a luau, enjoying yourself, defending the title at Neelis Blaisdell Arena. So how hard is it for you to have a title fight in these circumstances?
You know, it's actually, I'm just grateful because the fact that we're even fighting is, you know, it's just, there's a lot of people who haven't been able to fight, who aren't getting paychecks. There's a lot of businesses that have been forced to close down because of this year. So I'm honestly just grateful that despite it being very weird circumstances during fight week, you know, with the whole quarantining and everything and extra precautions, I'm just, again, very grateful to even have this opportunity. So no, you won't hear any gripes from me about not being in Hawaii this time of year, because it's fine. As long as I'm getting a fight, I'm totally cool with it.
All right, just two more from me. First, then, since training has obviously been different under these circumstances, I know you're grateful to still be competing, defending the world title, but do you feel like you're fully prepared for an undefeated fighter, as an undefeated fighter yourself?
Yeah, I think I had a really great camp. You know, my same training partners were still there, and I had normal as it could be under the circumstances. I had a very normal training camp. You know, our gym, fortunately, we were considered an outdoor gym because we have warehouse doors. So as long as we kept those up, then it was fine. The only real, I guess, what's it called? The only real adjustments we had to make was towards the end of the camp, you know, coming down to the last 2 weeks or so was when we really had to, you know, I started wearing my mask to practice and just really limiting my partners just because, you know, the chance of contracting something leading up to this fight. So that was the only real adjustments that we had to make. But otherwise, I thought I had a great camp.
All right, and last from me, as I concede to Gareth A. Davies that he is the better man, since he will probably be following me next on the line, what do you make of Juliana Velasquez as an opponent compared to the other title fights where you've successfully defended the belt?
I think Juliana is a lot more of an intimidating physical fighter than any of my former opponents. You know, she's bigger than me. She has a bit longer reach, really aggressive and physical. So I think that's one of the main differences between her and my other opponents. I feel like this fight's going to be really tiring. You know, I'm going to be exerting a lot of physical effort and trying to take her down, trying to strike with her. So, yeah, I feel like my other fights were very strategic, but with her, it's going to be a very physical fight.
Ryan?
Thank you. So my main question is, you know, Scott Coker has kind of teased the concept of maybe having a women's flyweight Grand Prix, but he wanted to see how this fight unplayed with you and Juliana. Do you think that a victory for you increases or decreases the chances of that happening?
Honestly, whatever happens tomorrow, I hope it doesn't change anything as far as like wanting to do the fight. I think if she wins or if I win, there still should be a Grand Prix for the women's flyweight division. I think that people would prefer to watch us fight over any other, I don't want to call them out. Okay, over the bantamweight guys. I mean, I would like to see the women fighting a women's Grand Prix. We haven't had our chance. You know, the featherweight women haven't had their chance. We haven't had our chance. So I think it's just time. And I think that had the pandemic not have happened, then we would be in a tournament right now. So yeah, I hope that regardless of what happens on Thursday, it's still going to happen.
And Ilima-Lei, you continue to set records in the sport. You're solidifying your legacy. You know, hopefully we do get to see that flyweight Grand Prix go on. And with all of that, what does this fight and what do all of these fights really mean to solidifying your career in Bellator?
Ah, man. I mean, honestly, I feel like I've already made history quite a bit. And regardless of the outcome on Thursday, I'll still be in the history books. So at this point, to be totally honest, like I'm just having fun with my fights. I'm finally being able to enjoy, you know, I feel like a lot of pressure has been lifted off of me because I have accomplished a lot in this division and in my career and, you know, in the sport itself, I've accomplished a lot. So at this point in my career, I am really starting to enjoy the process, enjoy the camps, you know, enjoy the evolution of my skills as a mixed martial artist. And so, you know, and I'm like, I want to take fun fights. Like I want to fight overseas. I want to fight in the ring and Saitama Arena. You know, I want to do a cross promotional fight with Ryzen. So it's like, again, I just, now I feel a lot more relaxed. You know, not taking my opponents lightly, but just like, I don't have as much pressure as people think I have being champion, because I feel like I've done a good job at being champion, and I've reached a lot of the heights of that one could reach in their career. And so now it's I'm just enjoying the process a little bit more and not putting so much pressure on me.
Gareth?
Good evening, Ilima from London.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi there, how you doing? I won't give the other guy I'm not going to even say his name. Yeah, the guy that was, because he's, you know, I'm not letting him get that because I'm living rent free in his head right now. But just wanted to ask you, and we're only kidding around. I just wanted to ask you, you used a lot of enjoying rhetoric just then. You're enjoying it so much, and we've enjoyed you an enormous amount as champion, and you know the things you've done and the power you've used it for. Can you say to me though that this is probably the biggest challenge you've had while being champion in terms of what Juju Velasquez brings stylistically to the fight against you?
Yes, what she brings. Yes, I consider it the biggest challenge so far. I mean, I would say that Valerie Letourneau at that stage of my career was my biggest challenge, you know, because of her pedigree, her experience in the sport, how long she's been in the sport. But I would say that stylistically, Juliana is my biggest challenge to date. Not only is she a southpaw, which, you know, you don't really fight a lot of southpaws, but she's bigger. She seems very physically strong. She goes for the finish. She has an extremely similar record to mine. And I think her mentality too, you know, she's ready to be champion. You know, she works hard, and she wants this a lot. So yeah, I think and stylistically too, you know, even though she really likes to stand and bang, she's a black belt in judoka, which I've never faced before. So that should be interesting too. Definitely my biggest challenge so far.
Brilliant, thank you. And just a final one from me, because Dan wants to move us all on very quickly tonight. Does it make a difference? Would it have made it? I mean, I've had the privilege myself of going to the 2 events that you had in Hawaii. It was amazing. Do you think it makes a difference not being in Hawaii for you this time? Because once a year, you've been able to carry an event in your homeland.
For me personally, I don't think it makes a difference, because I think it's kind of a nice change up. And there's a lot less going on, you know, a lot less I need to focus on now. I can just kind of focus just on the fight, just on making weight and the fight. However, I do think that the disadvantage of it not being in Hawaii is for my opponent, because my opponents, to be fighting in my hometown in front of that crowd, I think is very, very intimidating, and is a kind of a huge mind F-bomb for them. And, you know, you can see it when you rewatch those fights, when they introduce my opponent and the whole crowd is just dead silent. You can hear a pin drop in there. You know, there'll be occasional boo-oos and everything, but it's just dead. And then, you know, my walkout comes. I think that can be really mentally intimidating to my opponent. So I think that's going to be the biggest difference. It doesn't really have any effect on me, but for my opponent, it does.
Donna?
Hey, Ilima-Lei, how's it going?
Hi, it's going good.
I wanted to talk to you a bit about your good friend Heather Hardy. You're very close with her, right?
Yeah, that's my girl.
She's been very outspoken this last week about in boxing, or the last couple of weeks, about you know, women's issues in the sport in terms of pay, in terms of positions on cards. Have you been keeping up with what she's been saying, and have you been talking to her about things like that?
Yes, we you know, in fact, when the lockdown first happened, we were you know, talking almost daily, and we even did a live on Instagram about women's pay in sports. It was more geared towards the relationship side of things. Like if the woman is the breadwinner, how does that work out in the relationship? But we definitely talked about, women's pay in sports, and I'm 100% behind Heather and asked her to share her experiences with, being paid in the boxing industry as a woman. And so, I have been following her. I mean, this last week, not so much, just, because I have a fight and everything. But yeah, we're homies, and I completely support, everything that she's fighting for.
Obviously, you're not there, so you would only be hearing it secondhand from people like Heather. But why do you think it is that women's MMA seems to have just raced ahead of the pack when it comes to pay, when it comes to equality in the way the cards are structured? I mean, it's completely not abnormal. It's not something that's even a talking point that you would be headlining this card, or that Chris Cyborg or Amanda Nunes in the other promotion. Why is it that the WMMA has raced ahead of women's boxing so much?
I think it's because of promoters like Scott Coker. I mean, Scott has always been supportive of women's MMA. He was the one, I would say that he was the one that practically founded it and gave a stage and gave a platform and the spotlight to women in MMA. So I think it's individuals like him that have allowed women's MMA to excel. And he's the one that's putting us as the headliners. He's never doubted us from the beginning. Other promotions have. They have literally went out and said that we will never see women in the cage fighting ever. But Uncle Scott has never been like that. He's always been supportive of us. So I think it's because of guys like him that we don't have to fight as much, for stuff like equal pay or for exposure or opportunities to fight on the main card, opportunities to headline and to sell out events. It's because of promotions like Bellator and our promoters like Scott Coker.
Mark?
Ilima, thanks for taking these questions. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your charity work. I know it's something that I don't think people have discussed the past couple times during these press conferences, but tell me a little bit about that. I mean, obviously the pandemic may have hindered a little bit of your charity work, but just kind of give us kind of an update on what's going on with some of your charitable endeavors.
Yeah, so back in February, I put on a retreat for Native women and girls. It was an intergenerational and intertribal retreat for, it was I took them back to my homeland, back to Oahu. And, these were women and girls from nations all over the world, including, the Lakota and Dakota nations in the Midwest. I had members of the Kumeyaay Nation in Southern California, and again, from all over the world. And I took them back home to Hawaii to put them through a women's retreat that would encompass self-love, self-discipline, self-defense, and, protection of the sacred, which included our land and, our bodies as women. So anyway, that was part of my scholarship program that I do outside of the cage. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to do anything because what my scholarship provides is travel opportunities for these girls. And again, we were not able to do that for the rest of 2020. But, I have talked about my next goal or my next endeavors. I do want to rent a trailer or a big RV or something, and I want to do a cross-country road trip and visit reservations and put on free self-defense seminars for the children and for the women out there. And I have been able to do several self-defense seminars during the pandemic on several reservations, and I have another one lined up after this fight. And I don't charge anything for these seminars because as long as it's involving Native women and girls, because statistically that demographic faces the highest rates of violence. I don't charge anything because, that's not how I make my money. And this is how I give back. So keep an eye out. Hopefully I can do it in 2021, my cross-country road trip to visiting reservations across the nation.
Thanks a lot, and thank you for your continuing endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, last one, Jay.
Hey, thanks very much. And Ilima, a couple from me, if you don't mind. We spoke to Juliana last week, spoke to her again today during the media day, and she mentioned that she had been expecting to fight you last year. You wound up fighting Jackson. She wound up fighting Bruna Ellen. Was there talk of a fight between the two of you back in Hawaii last year?
There wasn't anything official, but when post-fight, when they're like, oh, like, who do you see yourself fighting next? I did throw her name out there. I always throw out a couple of names, just girls that were on my radar, but there was nothing official. But I do think I said her name after like the Valerie fight. I was like, oh yeah, I've been keeping an eye on Velasquez and so. I threw a couple names out there, but again, nothing official.
And you kind of mentioned it in that she does look like your toughest test to date, a strong physical fighter. You opened as the favorite in this. It's still close, but some sites have you as the underdog right now, and it is the closest fight on the card. Is that motivational for you at all, or are you more of a never tell me the odds, Indiana Jones kind of person?
Yeah, I don't even understand how odds work, honestly. I don't think I've ever bet on anything in my life before. So I'm kind of like, I don't get it, but I also don't care about numbers going into a fight. I never have. If I did care, I feel like that's just my ego speaking, and you want to try to stay away from ego as much as possible before a fight.
All right. Thank you, Ilima. Good luck on Thursday.
Thanks, guys.